that House are doing. So just a quick message, for the Department of Education. They say this video, they're not too keen on me, the Department of Education, but to hell with them. So, but this is kind of something they should know, and they probably don't know because they probably couldn't really care less, to be honest. To the Department of Education, it's all about the money. It's not about children's education or anything like that. It's just about getting money. It's free education in this country. You have to laugh at it. Free education, my backside. So first of all, as the Department of Education well knows, I go to a secondary school with over 800 people. How in the name of Christ and Mighty Father are you going to try and social distance that? Like, how in the name of God are you going to do that? In all the secondary schools around Cavan, there were over 200, 300, 400 people in the school. If you can social distance, in some classes in my school, there's over 30 in the class. How are you going to, and the classrooms are not that big. Unless you put people outside, unless you're going to stop showing people outside and teaching them outside, then there's no way you can do it. As simple as that, there's no way, and there's not enough teachers. The Cavan's riddled with this lack of teachers in Cavan, there's a lack of teachers in Monaghan. You're going to pay now for what you've done to the young teachers, and because they went abroad, they went to Australia for better pay, better conditions. And, it's really showing now because, schools are desperate now because they can't get enough teachers. And they're taking teachers that are qualified because they haven't got any teachers at all. And it's just showing how evil the Department of Education is, just wanting to save a few bucks for themselves. It just goes to show you. And it's the same with special needs assistants. They're making people pay for them. They're making some people pay for them, but absolutely absurd that the state shouldn't take advantage of that. And that's what they're doing. They're taking advantage, and I say that to the minister. And he doesn't like me. I can tell by the way he won't answer me. At least some ministers in the government have a bit of decency to reply to me. But yeah, he's just too afraid of me because I'm the one who speaks up too loudly, and he doesn't like young people when they speak up too loudly. Especially because I have a voice that won't be silenced and won't be shut up. But I'm just going to say this, and I'm going to say this straight. There's no logic at all. Like in national schools, the national school down there, 145, 147, something like that. Like, in the name of God, classrooms, they're only fit for about 20 and there's 30 in the class. We can't there's no literally on top of each other because there's not enough room. And we don't have the teachers. Again, we don't have the teachers, we don't have the resources from the state. So do I have a case? Because I think I do have a case, because there's not a hope in hell. We're going to have so many new students, and that's not hope in how we can keep social distancing or things like that. There's not a hope, and the same with the secondary schools. Like in Dublin, my God, how are they going to keep one of my cousins that live up in Dublin, nearly 3,000 in one of those secondary schools. Like, have a look at yourself, Department of Education, because you really buckled yourself up before this anyway, because he's made a mess. Like, it just goes to show you how much of a mess this government has made over the last 3 years, and it's really showing. First of all, there shouldn't be 30 in the class. My God, there shouldn't be 30 in in average there's 30 in the class in Ireland, in secondary and both primary. And how in the name of God can one teacher go around all them? Second of all, with special needs assistants, he's absolutely buggered that up completely. Third of all, I'm trying to even take how to put this, you just neglected the young teachers that were coming out of college. And that's why they went off to Australia, to better countries that will get a better pay and get better conditions. So you really buckled yourselves up. You really did buckle yourselves up, and you can really see that now, because I can see it. I can see it from where I'm standing, because he's whinging and quipping and crying and saying, how are we going to sort that out? And we just don't really have much brains in the Department of Education. The only reason why you don't have much brains, it wouldn't have took a genius to know that it would have been dangerous to let anybody do their leaving cert, sorry. And they took dilly-dallied around for a long time, dilly-dallying, and I said this, and I said it openly, and we probably went back to the minister. Of course, I went back to the minister what I was saying, because I was the only one challenging them, saying, why did he dilly-dally around for about 60 years? Other ministers who were in charge of different things said straight away, this is going to be cancelled straight away. A week after the lockdown, were like, this is going to be cancelled, this could be cancelled. And they just dilly-dallied around for half a year. Just dilly-dally, tried to milk it for everything he could. And that's as simple as that. They weren't really worried about people's health and safety. Like, the only reason why they want to get back is to get the money off the young people, trying to get the money back. That's all. It's free education, my whole. Like, it's simple as that. I never heard such crack. There's no such thing as free education in this country. I know there's book schemes and things like that, but the majority of things you get in school, you have to really pay for them. So school tours, things like that, you have to pay for them the majority of the time. And there's always money for this, that, and the other in schools. There's no such thing as free education in this country. Like, this government hasn't got a brain at all. Especially the Department of Education. Like, I'm going very hard on the Department of Education, but they really do the stuff. Because I remember I knew a good lot of young teachers, so a lot of them left, and I patched them on the back. I patted them on the back because they're getting 50 times more money than they did in this country in the Department of Education. And that's saying something, Minister McHugh. But I knew so many of them, and they didn't want to leave their mothers, they didn't want to leave their fathers, they didn't want to leave the GA clubs, they didn't want to leave the village. But they had to. If they didn't, they would have been homeless. So, but they couldn't afford it. The rents were up. They couldn't afford the rents. They couldn't afford to survive. And that's the reason why they left. And it was good friends of one or two of them that left for New Zealand and left for Australia. Better pay, extremely better pay, better conditions, less hours, less stress, less paperwork. I can go on. And in Australia, the thing is, with special needs students, there's not a hope that the government over there would ask you to pay for any special needs assistance for anybody who needs assistance, who needs an extra bit of help. And that's a very, very sorry thing to be doing, to try and get money out of people who need the extra support. And I seen this. I seen this people giving out of this, and you was trying to silence them. That's not right. It's like in fairness, some people with special needs do get teachers automatically, but the majority of people have to pay. And it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and it still happened to this day, and I bet you any money still happen. I don't have evidence, but I say it is. I bet you any money. I'm just assuming. And if you want to take it, that I'm assuming it, because I say it could be still happening. And now I don't have proof, but I say a lot of people say to me, they know somebody has to pay for the special needs assistance. And that was something, because I remember those news articles talking about it a few years ago, but it's still happening. Of course it's still happening. Because the department's just wanting the money, and that's all it's about. You just don't really care at the end of the day if when nobody loaned anything in this country. It's just simple as that, because it's how are you going to manage? Like, I'm just trying to figure out, in the name of God, because I met with the Parents Association yesterday in my local national school, in a phone, voice call, whatever thing would like, they were like, there's no hope. There's no hope. There's literally no hope we can do it. Even if we had bring them in for an hour a day, we couldn't do it. Simple as that, we couldn't do it. We don't have the resources, we don't have the teacher staff. We just couldn't do it. We can't do it. We couldn't manage with toting the class. Like, this toting the class, the majority of the classes down in the national school, down there, and there's lack of teachers, we can't do it. There's no hope in hell we can do it. And it just goes to show, it shows you how badly one the Department of Education is, because these cracks were there for a long time. Now the cracks are even getting bigger now, because they're just showing up the Department of Education for what they are, for what they did. And it's in many other departments too. The HSE, it shows you how badly they manage that in the HSE. But the Department of Education, they're just shooting themselves in the foot. They're just shooting themselves in the foot every day. They're shooting themselves in the foot. They're talking about bringing students back in September. There won't be hope. There won't be any hope of that happening. I tell you that straight. Because it couldn't work. You couldn't let 800 people into a secondary school. My secondary school, take for example. How are you going to manage that? There's no teachers in the country. All the teachers left for other countries for better pay and better conditions and better work hours. And you really shot yourselves in the foot in that. So it's and you have to look at yourselves now, Minister McHugh and the rest, and you have to look at yourselves in the mirror and say, is this what the education system we built in this country? Built it just to collapse. And that's really what's going to happen, because it's just collapsing. It's just collapsing. And I don't blame the teachers, I don't blame them. I blame the Department of Education. I'm putting the blame straight on the Department of Education, the Minister of Education. That you really made a mess of this. Like, honest to God, you made a mess of it. It's good, like, you made new school buildings. A lot of new school buildings are built. Extensions on the schools. You spent millions upon millions. But at the end of the day, you didn't have the teachers. You didn't have the resources to operate it. There was special needs classrooms in some schools I knew. And one of them cost nearly 2.something million in Cavan. And you couldn't open it for 2 months because you didn't have the resources to open it. Now, isn't that just great logic? That's just logic. That's logic. That's logic right there. you didn't have the resource. You couldn't you couldn't operate. You built it, but you couldn't operate it. You know, always in the Department of Education to have the greatest brains, and you know, prove me wrong, because you literally, like building a thing and then not all using it is just a joke. This department.